I am here to talk about Neptune not being magical, but it being a malefic, and specifically when it is conjunct the moon. So let's talk about this, y'all. So this video applies for moon conjunct Neptune, doesn't matter what house, and we will get into the house aspect in this video. Definitely, if you are Pisces moon, if you have, like, I would say Pisces planet, like more than maybe one or two, but I'll say Pisces sun. 12th house stellium for sure. Pisces stellium for sure. And I'm shaking my head like this because people really downplay water, the power of water. Like Pisces, so don't forget, Pisces is the zodiac symbol of Neptune. And Pisces symbol is what? Two fish, one going upstream, one downstream, trying to use that energy to get through the river. So that's the power of water. And in my chart, I have so just to give you a little bit more, paint the picture, I have Sagittarius rising, Sagittarius moon, wonderful, Neptune in Sagittarius, and also at the edge of my first house lives the sun in Capricorn. And I have Mercury in Capricorn, which really kind of helps as an anchor to all this madness that we're getting ready to talk about. So, my mom's is okay, y'all. We have some funny stuff going on. Like, I told you all my planets for my moon and for my Neptune, and I went to go look at my mom's. I know she's a Virgo moon, and then Neptune's in Libra. So I was like, this is not a conjunction, but it's 1 degree, so I don't know. So I did that on my phone, and then I'm on the classic Cafe Astrology, FYI. Very easy, no logins to get a quick chart. So anyway, I had to come on here and make sure I was just not tripping. Someone's playing jokes. Y'all, it really could be spirit. Moon conjunct Neptune. And this is my mother. I told y'all she's silent Jen. Hold on. Yeah, look at this stuff. Pluto and Leo generation, y'all. Old school. I'm trying to, I don't wanna oh yeah, 1942. So no jokes there. So y'all can see. I don't know what's up with the glitch in the Matrix. Two apps both say that my mom's a moon conjunct Neptune person. So and that's the thing. I think that's a good way to segue into this video, talking about how our experiences overlap and are similar. So first and foremost, let's go into number one. Neptune definitely represents, really chemicals, and chemicals takes you to the world of drugs. Uh, Neptune is also, just if you don't know, he's associated with, celebrities acting, mass shape shifting. Think about water. You put it in a cup, you put it in a bathtub, it changes its shape. That's what Neptune does. And I say all that to say is what is also associated with celebrity life, entertainment life, drugs. So that brings me to the first thing of addiction, which let me tell you, like, I actually legit have struggled with many myself. Let me say within reason, my God. Like, I mean, let me not joke about that because addiction, and let me also premise, for me, it's a little bit of a double whammy. Um, I don't know. As always, it depends on the whole chart. But when I said who this video applies to, shout out to the people who have. Yeah, actually, hold on. Let me go back up. Where? Oh my goodness, I put it in here for me, but well, no, fourth house stellium would be Cancer. Okay, so what I'm adding is Pisces on a 4-8-12 house cusp. Yeah. Well, I told y'all we're gonna change this Not change. We're gonna make this lecture grow live, living document, as we say at the office. Because what I pause here on the addiction in the family, because I was saying I feel like it's doubled down, not just literal mom, moon, uh, mom, moon, addiction, Neptune. Also, moon represents women. Mother is Cancer, family, women in my mother's family. Also, Neptune having addiction issues. It is that literal for me, but also I was saying it is compounded. Not no could. It's compounded by I have Pisces on the fourth house cusp. Generational. Really, that should count as, hold on. I have Moon conjunct Neptune, Pisces on the fourth house cusp. Fourth house cusp. Let me explain. So fourth house is Cancer, but it can show along with, excuse me, it shows generational and they're ancestral. It's mother's line. There we go. Fourth house cusp is mother's line. Eighth house is ancestral. And 12th house, you might as well say, is your spiritual inheritance house. Ta-da! Yep, you get that too. But back to point number one. As I just went literal with you all, like, and I'm going to keep this graphic up. At first, I was going to just show my face, but I'm going to keep this graphic up because I'm going to go back and forth from different points. Because point number 8. Confusion, logic, processing delays, and back to Neptune blurs things. Neptune's rose-colored glasses. We're going to make sure you're always okay and protected. Cancer, home, shell, by my mother's family, who, key point, let me actually, before we go deeper, quiet Apple Watch. Before we go deeper, actually, let's silence the Apple Watch. We're about to get into this lecture, y'all. Before we go deeper, my father passed away when I was 6 or 7, I think really 6. So my mother had three sisters and a great aunt who stepped in to raise me. So lots and lots and lots of women in the family, and not all of them, Lord knows, I mean, it's about 50-50 in terms of those that struggled with addiction. Actually, you know what? I take that back. It was more like 25%, because gambling addiction, like, I don't want to say you name it, we've had it, but unfortunately addiction is real. And I was saying, of course, hard drugs, like relatives, like my let me not name names, of course, other relatives. I was leading to the story I wanted to tell real quick about and pulling in. So I'm sorry, the reason why I talk about the swarm of women, back to point number 8, the confusion, not that I take that back. I think there was some conscious will in, they thought that by bending the truth, they were protecting me. But I say all that to say that it wasn't until I was much grown in life, or maybe probably like a later teenager, to recognize that, when we're visiting where my relative lives, actually they're an addiction counselor, so they're like, I mean, talk about paying it forward. Like, they're not going to be offended by the slip of relative. So let's not get into that per se, but the point is, I was a young person confused that we were going to the rehab facility. I kind of thought it was college, because I mean, it was legit like that. Like, it was a campus and we walked around, and I guess it probably might have been dorms. And yeah, my family is apparently is a sweeping under the rug, in denial. They're also, let me tell you, like, they are great generation and silent generation. And I think great generation. Yeah, the one, and this is pre-boomers. If you're like, who are these people? So it's great generation, silent generation, then boomers, then Gen X, and if you ever were wondering, I am a millennial, right? Smack in the middle. So I'm a millennial that's a Capricorn, but hello, you see, old family. I literally have like, I I have silent generational values because these are the people who raised me, man. So I'm like a little old lady. But anyway, back to point number one, because Lord, I'm not trying to crack back, but I was gonna say I want to sober up the jokes. I want to sober, no, seriously, not. I want to sober the jokes because yeah, I won't. I have relatives to this day still struggling with addiction. And I myself have had my own issues. Codependency is a. Did I actually include it separate on the list? I did not. I don't know. Is that considered a real? I know it's a psychological condition. I don't know if it's a medical condition in terms of like ICD code. But you could be treated for anything, especially if you got private retreat money. Lord knows. I mean, I think that's real. Like wealthy people send their kids to screen-free addiction. I keep saying retreat, rehab. Hey, honey, in this day and age, do what you gotta do. It's rough out here. But as y'all can see, I had to get chapstick. I had to get water. Let's keep going down this lecture. But real talk, like, man, I just cleaned up my bookshelf. Gonna hit it live. About all I have left. I got rid of my well, I guess that would kind of like put it out there, but whatever. I'm keeping it real. I had a lot of adult child of alcoholic books. But these were a few: Mindful Recovery, A Spiritual Path from Healing with Addiction, and Perfect Daughters, Adult Daughters of Alcoholics. Um, yeah. So now, did I mention the codependency? I think that's when I talked about is in a medical condition. I'm sorry, like I feel like I got a little jumbled there, but that was, and it wasn't until I landed in therapy that they're like, oh, your family members are all struggle with addiction. Yeah, by default you get codependency. Congratulations. And I was like, okay, I'm not crazy. We can heal this, and we did. Straight up, actually, legit. No, actually, oh no, it's 2020. It's yeah, what year is it? 2025. Yeah, last year was my 10-year codependent no more anniversary. It is not a freaking game. Just like how anyone struggling with any addiction, I don't care if it is, yo, I'm 60 days clean from social media, alcohol, drugs, weed, CBD, video games, like honor and respect someone's sobriety 100%. Please always do that. Like, back to a little bit more of my family story. So, I had a relative that went to rehab and became an addictions counselor. I had one relative where the doctors basically said if you take one more drink you're gonna die, and like they went cold turkey, probably shoot 15 years if not 20 uh sober. Unfortunately, my parent is that's just a really tough situation that I do not want to discuss too much here online. But it's very hard because where does the addiction start? Now let's go back. Now I told you my mom has Moon conjunct Neptune in her chart. And unfortunately, well, so growing up, it was the father in the household, grandfather. But later on in the years, and this kind of jumps us a little bit to point number two. Um, Now her mother. So again, don't forget, Moon is mother. And Moon is home, family roots, mother side of the family. Keep all that in mind. So just way down the line in my mother's life, like, yeah, my grandmother passed away when I was 7. Actually, yeah, that had to be some tough years for my mom, in terms of losing my father and her mother back to back like that. And again, like old school. African American mom. Like she's going to therapy, but luckily we're not to veer off course, but to like luckily we're getting so much more smart with mental health. Does not excuse being stuck in addictive behavior. But you really have to honor people trying. That's also something real with this condition. Because it's a mental illness, man. And it can be in there deep for so many different reasons. But jumping back to number two, which two and one I guess go together. But so yes, by the time I lost my grandmother, she was honestly not to me not old, like because anyway, most of my people, even my father passed away, I think he was almost 60, but yeah, he had a health issue. But most of the people passed away in my family were like over 80. So losing my grandmother at in her 60s, and I think in her 60s is kind of young. I mean, youngish for youngish elder, young elder. There we go. Because I do believe like 80 and up is is pushing it anyway. But back to the seriousness. Um, yeah, unfortunately, marriage, kids super grown, grandchildren now, and you and your husband just kind of want to go separate ways, and not working out, like we're talking the 80s, but I guess it's still kind of like you've been married this whole time, and I'm speculating at this point. uh I don't know if you can live on your own, and how does that work, and pensions, and is it still taboo in the 80s for a woman to divorce a man? It's like all these things that are real. So unfortunately, that led to her drinking, and trigger warning. Thank goodness I remembered. Uh, very very short, non-detailed, unaliving situation. So when my grandmother got sick and they summoned the family to the hospice, yeah, the hospice center, that's where they take you before, unfortunately, you're gonna transition. Again, I don't know the specifics on the illness, on the ailments, but the doctors told the family that she's not fighting. Specifically, she's not fighting. She doesn't want to be here, and that to me, kind of getting into, I don't know. I guess I'll say Pisces in general soaks up feelings, and don't forget this is generate for me, like fourth house cusp and moon. Like moon is absolutely, at least again on the mother side, that's an ancestral homing signal. So I'm just saying that the sadness, I feel definitely got kind of passed on. Someone who didn't want to be here, was that dissatisfied with their life, and that's in my mother's chart, but still echoes through my chart. We're talking about two people with moon conjunct Neptune. So if you haven't done family siblings, I'm my only child. My mom's the only child, but I definitely do her and her siblings charts and look around and trade, family information, and through the lens of astrology, like definitely play around with that. So let's pause here because I really don't want this to like not be good. Okay, we had to do a quick make sure all the equipment was working check. So more on number two, mental illness. I would say definitely all types of depression, anxiety. Um, really, I think Neptune, since it dissolves boundaries. I mean, excuse me, since it dissolves in general, and the moon is your home, so I think that can make for what a weaker matriarch. Lord, why can't I speak? Matriarchal line. I feel like I'm still saying that wrong, but we're gonna keep going. A weaker line because Also, there was a lot of like autoimmune, and like I literally had to pay a ton of money to get like neurological stuff found. And I could really look back and honestly back at some of my relatives for the longevity that they carried, but I could really see how so much stuff compounded at the end that this wasn't, diagnosed in their time, the day and time. And really, I think when I look at the mental illness, it's not just the depressions and the anxiety, but silent generation. Like they did not discuss feelings and emotions in a healthy way. Repression equals depression. So I feel like that was a huge one. And even kind of back to throwing in number 3, psychic stuff, channeling. Number 7, boundaries. I said boundaries with women because of the moon thing, but moon, home, environment. Moon conjunct Neptune, wherever you go, wherever space you're in, like a turtle. Dove, is there a butt in the air? Do not moon the viewers of YouTube. I apologize for that. But back to the space you in, you're an energy, a subtle energy magnet, soaking up all that. So I say all that back to my family was not well, I don't know, there was a secret Ouija board I found once, but real talk, there was a couple of religious women, and I feel like that's a channel, again, a channel to the divine. But it was a lot of repression, and not necessarily spirituality, or they weren't doing yoga back in those days. And even I think the best thing they had going for them was their home environment. Like it was a lot of nature. So I felt like they got healing when they didn't even realize. But I think that helped because, again, with this placement, and honestly, I could look to see where all of the women in my family carry psychic gifts. Don't forget that that's the magical side of Neptune, of Pisces. Like that intuition, rock on. The creativity, rock on. Like me and all my cousins, we can channel like that, and even my cousin's kids, like woo, just like that. We can tap into our imagination, our creative consciousness. Pisces on the fourth house cusp. It's easy. But that comes with lots of trade-offs. Get sensitive. Yeah, let me bring myself to point number 3. Yeah, actually, yeah, back to my cousins and I, like now I can look back and I started channeling like second grade. What is that? Like age 8? I remember I would write extra stuff in my schoolwork. And the teachers would get so mad. They would make me erase it and be like, you're doing, like, as usual, shaming 80s kid here. Yeah, second grade. It had to still be the 80s, I guess. Yeah, no, I had to remember, forgot when I was born. Heck yeah, that was still the 80s. Um, but unfortunately, like, child, y'all, what I said, repression leads to depression, and in women, anger. I have Sun Square Mars in my chart, y'all. But luckily, man, shout out to my coach, who was just such a professional. If you ever need a life coach recommendation, put it in the comments. Like, she is amazing because we learned about how long the channeling had been happening, and she's like, you just bam, let's bring in Green Terror, or hey, let's get a message from White Terror. She's like, not everyone is necessarily vibrating on that entity. And even to let's bring, I think, number 3 and 6. 6 is on feelings. Because I said know yours, because you're getting a lot of interference, local, global, collective, and unconsciousness. The collective unconsciousness, let me say that together. Also, let me define what that is. So that's a Carl Jung term, which I love because your conscious mind is the one you have direct control over, the one that says take off these glasses, put these glasses back on. But of course, the unconscious mind works through like symbols, the dream world, and archetypes, and other wonderful, fabulous things that Carl Jung has discovered, and I'm like just on the cusp of exploring, because it's been very influential in my own healing. But back to the collective unconsciousness, that's a Jung theory, which means like there's a sleeping state that we all share together. And in some cases, that's like we hear the phrase shadow work. That's kind of done from that. Well, let me not confuse you all by bringing it in shadow work, but the collective unconsciousness can also be a to me another portal of how like the whole entire world is feeling and not being aware of it. So I say all this to say, like one time with my coach, we were talking about the local football team, and I was like half joking and half giving a real testament to how I would wake up in the morning and I could feel it in the air if they had won or lost. And she's like, time out, time out. Your chance. She's like, that's channeling again. I'm like, wait a minute. Um, Other people aren't. Again, I'm not saying other people like in a comparison perspective, but there we go. Let me frame it as she was pointing out spiritual gifts. Yeah, that should go on this list too. I feel like that's the only goddamn positive thing. You know what? Maybe since we call it 10 a bonus, spiritual gifts. Of many different kinds, which I am still delightfully figuring out. Can we type that? Delightfully figuring out, because y'all, I just recently got a spirit board. Um, I just love continuing to make contact with many different guides and energies. It's life quest, I guess. So the psychic stuff, I think it just comes to Neptune is the king, king of the sea, the king of subtle energy. And that's to me, all this stuff is psychic energy, tarot. I mean, definitely there's patterns and analysis and actual knowledge, but psychic work to me in the true, like, oh, I'm a medium, is to me working with different knowings. And you just know. It's kind of like not really, don't want to make it overly complex. And the channeling, maybe I should just explain that again, like define what that is for people who may not know. Let me not go to the bookshelf. I don't think that's a channel book. My looking for, oh my goodness, the classic Esther and Jerry Hicks Law of Attraction. Cause y'all, I've been thinning down my book, so that's why I'm sitting here like my neck half crooked. Y'all, I'm checking. Hold on, I'm literally scanning quick as possible. Um, nah, I guess I took those all digital. I don't think because they're so. Oh wait a minute, I take it back. Hold on, this is a channeled book. Yeah, Law of Attraction is a channeled book. So what that means is Esther and Jerry Hicks, the authors, the human authors, actually the wife, Esther, if you haven't read this, Esther, she channeled this being, and we're just going to say being, let's keep it simpler, energies. Because when I keep saying subtle energies, that's just, everything is always vibrational. Everything. So, and then after that, I'm going to say it gets into your own individual belief systems. Like, oh, we can make contact with beings. You think about like the myths. Why do we have so many similar myths? Or maybe are those archetypal energies and, oh, people that passed away and, ascended masters and this and that. Like, the list goes on, but, those are stories and energies and more. And people are able to, what sold me on this whole career field, the spirituality, I'm at the tarot meetup with my homie, and he just, actually, let me not do over dramatic. But he did take a very long pause and looked at me, more like that. He cocked his head, and he didn't put his best finger. He cocked his head, and he's like, maybe he did point. He's like, you had a dream. And I was so new to the spirituality world, y'all. I didn't know dreaming about a dead person is a spiritual visit. And then bloop, he channeled a message from my father that only, actually that goes back to point A. Point number one, addiction. That's what my father apologized for. And that's when I said, like, it was, he phrased the message in only a way that I would be able to interpret. Like, channeling, you just hear something, and over time, you'll know what your voice is, and you'll know when this is other people. And that's why I said also back to point 6, feelings. Know yours, know your feelings, know your inner and outer monologue. Actually, man, let's add that into the lecture. For real, hold on. Know yours, know your inner and outer monologue. And that's hold on, that's aka the voice in your head. Like how you talk to yourself. Like all day long. That is your inner and outer monologue. Like talking to yourself inside your head and speaking out loud, which is a very healthy thing to do. So know this because like I remember when number 10 Lord, this is gonna bother me. Why this needs to be we'll call it bonus. There we go. When number 10 delightfully figuring out what the heck is going on here with all this extra information. That's really the best way to put it. Extra information was coming in. I remember telling my best friend, I was like, this is just to keep it simple. I was like, yo, this is not me saying this to you, but I have to say this to you. Because it just would not leave my mind. It was almost like I had to empty the thought. So, in some ways, that is psychic stuff. And in some ways, some people can look at that as, in that case, I was actually channeling a message from her ancestors due to a health matter that was ongoing. That's why that they were present. So, I've had moments where I've asked people about X person, and I'm like, no, you need to follow up on them. Like I'm hearing that, see what's going on with them. Like I'll press them and come find out that it was a health matter going on. So you pick what you want to call it, psychic stuff, channeling. Actually was that one. I don't think that was her. See, I know I put so many reps in this stuff now. I think that was what I would call like the all-knowing told me that one. And that kind of goes to like the global collective. It's like hold on, like a private internet. That's yeah, that let's write that down. Seriously, because all right, so we have the local, that's the room you're in, energy. We're going to say energy because y'all need to know what the interference, feelings, the global collective. What did we just call that? That's the psychic internet. Yo, we're going to patent that right here on the channels. Trademark it. Ding, ding. Psychic internet. But for real. And then, wait a minute, the global collective. And then the global, then the collective. Actually, wait a minute, we'll call it the global energies in general. Like, imagine just, like, literally, like, just imagine flurries, specks. There we go, specks of stuff, like, flying everywhere. Did I explain this book, y'all? I'm sorry. I feel like we done flown a million ways from the sun. I think I was explaining what channeling is, so y'all said that y'all can't understand what this book is. One moment, let me get some more water. So let's get back on track. So the humans, Esther and Jerry Hicks, which is a couple, Esther, they started meditating, FYI, also the way to get your third eye and the crown chakra going, warmed up, and being an antenna. Crown chakra is the antenna to all those subtle energies floating around if you want to get psychic stuff activated quickly. So they meditated a lot. Esther was the one who started getting like sometimes psychic people, I like to call, I love that term, downloads. Downloads and downloads, and it does take time, and because again, you can have multiple people visiting or let me say communicating with you. So for her, it was Abram, and that's like, yo, Abram. I feel like honestly, like my guys are super chatty, and I don't know if it's just because, like, for me. Oh, actually, do I have that? Oh man, like let's pull that up since we are live on the wire. We are live on the wire. Where is Ulysses? Okay. Yep. So I'm gonna pull. Oh, here it is. Let's just make this larger. Perfect. I don't know what to. Oh, it's dark outside. Dark mode. So this is a list of all the beings that I've made contact with. Because yeah, you'll just kind of know the voice. Why did I don't know, I feel like some reason I'm having like some weird deja vu. Where did we leave off on the list? I felt like I was, what is going on? My computer is going haywire. Let's minimize this. Okay, the point is, um, okay, the point is, oh yes, I was explaining like channeling and downloads and just continuing to know yourself as you connect with others. So I was sharing this list of what do I call this? Oh, this inspirational mediumship. So like the Arcturian Council, I remember that was a dream. We went up to, yeah, like stairway to heaven. We took the stairways up to heaven, and they were at the top. Very, very loving group of people. The Elder Council, beings of white light, 12 ascended masters. And sometimes, like, too, it's really like a network, man, y'all. Like, just like how things burn out. Like, they talk about all the time stars exploding, energies going online and offline. Like, that's how it is with, to me, some of these spiritual connections. Um, yeah, like I said, 5 passive. So anyway, let me not get way off course here. Let's get back to the lecture. If I can get my windows cooperating with me, there we go. So I feel like, all right, we have unpacked lots of number 3, psychic stuff, channeling, um, channeled books. Yeah, it's like, my God, like it has to be at least 8 to 9. Esther and Jerry, Hicks and Abram been rolling. What was that other? Oh, Seth. Yeah, Seth was, I feel like, predated Law of Attraction. So like, what's another channel book series? But yeah, they're out there. And honestly, I feel like, what is creativity but channeling? So I feel like a lot of people are doing it, and I want to put like a, there we go. Everyone does it, so no need to be like, I've been, I could be like, I've been channeling since I've been 8. I'm better than you, but I'm really not. So we all do it. The point is for you to get good at it so that you can have fun with knowing all the different subtle energies that want to interact with you this lifetime. That's to me what the goal should be. So, all right, let's go to point number 4, because I actually have not really talked too much about naivety, or being naive. So think about it. Moon is, to me, like truly the personality from a yeah, duh, I'm tripping. It's your subconscious. Yeah, the sun is your conscious will. So the moon reflects and stuff gets stuck and feelings live there and intellect and processing. So yeah, I don't know. Like I'm, a smart person. Like I'm an auditor for my day job, but you start telling me some soft story, here I am like, oh whoa, I can't believe all that's going on, and they be like, it's not, none of that's happening, and I'm like, oh, that's not funny. Also, I don't watch like I remember, I still literally remember the moment, y'all. I think it was circa, y'all gonna laugh at this. I don't know how old the range when YouTube throws this video out there, how old y'all are, but it was circa Real World, like season 1 of Real World on MTV, y'all. I'll never forget my first apartment. I had to be all of 22. And my friends busted. Uh, yes, it was like, it was akin to when you find out Santa Claus isn't real. When my friends told me reality TV was scripted. First of all, I was like, what is scripted? I was like, what does scripted mean? And then they told me it was fake. It was like, I guess when people learn wrestling is fake, which I still don't understand that, but they say it's fake. So I see, there we go. Night 4 and 8 confusion because Neptune blurs. You ever hang out with Pisces people? They be out there. Like, that's another point. The moon making contact with Neptune in conjunct is like this. Puts you on other dimensions. Do we need to say that clear? Do we put that in the notes? Hold on. Where do we add that? Actually, maybe this should go here. The psychic stuff. But it's more about the antenna. Here we go. Put you in constant spiritual dimensions per the moon. Per the moon being our what I said earlier, our inner monologue. Now there's some Mercury aspect to thinking and processing. And actually, I have Mercury in Capricorn and no Saturn Titans. So I feel like it kind of squeezes. It's in that good house. It's in second house, so it kind of squeezes. So I think that also causes some of my delays, and it's genetic. But the naivety, I think once you know, the most important part, and this is going to go to point 7 with the boundaries, is, and the story I told about someone literally making up something in my face, like that's very rare. That's like the 1% situation. And I think again, like at work, sometimes like I can be pretty, they say, oh, she's super literal. But it's not like in any type of, we're gonna put you down. It's just like, I mean, real talk. I mean, I appreciate they kind of like give me a warning, yo, we're telling a story, or oh, watch out. No, they'll be like, watch out for him. He's a big jokester. And I get it, so that's to me, but really it's just like, there we go. You have to be careful. Don't want to use the E word, empath, but you have to watch out for what people prey on naivety. So it's almost just like having a good friend, family, or partner who, with strong morals and values, like real old school, not some post COVID stuff. I'm sorry, but like, is that a bad word? But for real, like someone who you can like trust to say, hey, this is not right, or hey, you're being misguided, or hey, they're taking advantage of you. Like you have to have an ace in the hole person that can be, I like to call them rear view mirrors in your life. Moon conjunct Neptune, own it. Don't be trusting the wrong people and be having hurt feelings or, drain resources. That's all I'm gonna say. Gotta watch out for that. Because also, like, number 5, delusion. That's just the maybe we should put the denial of reality. Yeah. Oh, actually, okay, I have a story for this one because y'all, I have to actively put it on for the forefront of my conscious mind that, like, I have to say it. This person, I mean, I'm going to be dramatic. This person stole from Target. This person stole from candy from a baby. This person did not pay their rent, and they are bad. So keep that in mind anytime you see them and they try to say hi to you. It's like you have to know. I mean, I'm being dramatic, but you have to keep the in your forefront the full knowledge of a person's character and know who they are is who they are. Even though, like, Neptune is gonna want to make you, trust me, it's gonna want to make you see the best in with the best potential, keyword potential, in a person. Because like, Neptune is delusion. Like, we're operating in our moon. There is a pink colored brain. Forget rose colored glasses. The brain is pink. Like, la 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 la. I'm gonna tell y'all. Like, luckily I got my Capricorn anchoring planets because I be like, what's going on? Like, I be checked out. Back to point 10. Constant spiritual dimensions. I'm like, oh, I was thinking about a story, a song, and inattentive ADHD and dot dot dot. But legit, you do have to watch out for delusion I would say delusion in a way that is unhealthy. Like I said, I think codependency could go there, but that's really what bound. That's, to me, was a bound. Well, it was self-worth, and boundaries. Um, and that's all that I think that idea will come under 7. All that's important because Neptune weakens the mind. So you really have to be able to use your reason, logic, and will, those faculties, to, I say, push back as much as you can against Neptune wanting to drown you out and then making decisions that aren't healthy and legal. Because what I was saying is back to holding at the front of mind a person's character. If you see them treat other people badly, know that it can happen to you. If you see them scam other people, know that it can happen to you. If you see someone at work being rude to every single team, know it can happen to you. Like, you cannot be like, oh, maybe she had a bad day. Oh, maybe. Oh, I just heard her father-in-law passed away. Like, no, she's just a mean person. So that, I mean, I'm being honest, y'all. That has helped me. Like, I just, like, I say it out loud. I, like, may or may not keep it in notes. Who people are, because Neptune would just make you want to try to see the best, and you can't do that. Not in this day and age. So, yes, indeed. That is. No, I feel like that was 4 or 5. We already talked about 6, and we talked about, again, with all this feelings, with all the delusion and the dimensions, the rose-colored glasses. Having a crucial authority and understanding of your own feelings, so that everything else is coming at you, you can process it and put it where it needs to go. Oh, that's a channeling from Green Tarot. Like y'all saw my notes. Let's write that down. Oh, that's a story for later. Oh, that's a song I want to hear. Oh, that's a potential book. We'll write that down too. Or hey, I want to draw this thing, because definitely art, or acting, performance. Oh, that's a reel I might want to make. Write it all, channel it all out to me in written form. Your ideas, or notepad, whatever you want to do, because that is very real in terms of those activities are also a part of your feelings and your range. Neptune, you got to feed the planets. You got to feed the planets, and that's definitely strong ways of feeding Neptune and not being it so drowned out in what it wants to do. Give it what it needs. Um, so number 7, boundaries with women. As I said when we let off, for me, what royalty messed me up was, my mom and my aunts were my world that was so safe and trusting, even though they were definitely wild. Not gonna look back and see their adult ways. I would say, in good old 90s, college form, I fell into a crew that was mainly women, and I felt like definitely it was like blind trust. So for me, blind trust, and unfortunately with the program running in the background, the codependency, man, my God, like I don't think anybody was talking about boundaries in the 90s, like the OOs. So all this stuff is going on, but really it's, to me, like I said, think about moon as home when we talked about the spaces, and Neptune dissolving all that. And in a gang of women, who are you? And especially, I would say definitely, hello, in your 20s, your late teens, you were growing into who you are as a person. But I say for me, it just really blurred many lines, and I think too, like I don't say, well, I would say like the codependent friendship breakups were definitely tough. Like I would say, once like in my 30s is when things got a little bit more real, and then again you gotta notice patterns. Like, oh, what's going on here? And getting help for that. Again, like, did I say that for number 2? Please, there's nothing wrong with getting help, coaching. Like, yo, I'm not gonna show y'all my invoices for all the coaching, therapy, like evaluation, neuropsychology, whatever, all the ologies. There we go. Get all the, if you're gonna be, I put it like this: if you're gonna do the astrology, you better do all the other ologies. Seriously, there's no more stigma around having some goddamn clean, healthy, as best as you can muster it, mental health. Let me put that stamp on it. So back to boundaries with women. I would say this though. I do notice that women do attach to me very easily. I'll be like, yo, I don't, and also like with as another freaking magnet, I have Cancer on the 8th house. That's women. Uh, and North Node. But women get very attached to me very easily. So I feel like I've learned to kind of keep my arm's length as time has gone on. So, but yeah, just something I'd be actually curious to see how other moon conjunct Neptune people fare. Actually, ooh, I guess the men, like, oh, y'all probably have some good stories. Cause, yeah, I mean, actually, hold on. Oh my gosh. Like, speaking of, yeah, relationships, that's so, what is the term? Heterosexual? I mean, I date, I love men, but all my codependency issues that had me on the therapist couch, women, boundaries with women, yo. That was yeah. Let me highlight that in terms of why number 7 was very important. Like, men, we're good. My bros, hold on, my bros and my boos, no issues. No issues. Go figure. That is Neptune screwing up. When I tell people that, they like, codependency with women? But think about it. It echoes what? My mom and her sisters and my aunts. Blind trust in women. It's a part of the story. Also, it's the part of hello, remember my mom's moon conjunct Neptune. She put, that was also her environment. She never really, and actually they all got along. They all got along well. Let me add that. Sorry, like, hashtag not a toxic family. Well, besides the whole number 1 addiction, that kind of scrambled up some things. And actually, real talk, other than, and a million and one reasons why addictions happen in family too. Because definitely, I would say that some of that too was my folks, the OG folks were pretty decent farmers. So, there was some resources there that really allow for people to live a good life. And I think that that aided to what they were able. Basically, they were cutting up with some bad shenanigans. But real talk, back to number 7, how important that is. And actually, let me actually highlight that, because I don't know where I put the codependency, but I think that's important. Codependency in women, not men. I'm going to just mark this. I don't know. Well, I'm not going to like all this over. If you're straight, whatever orientation, flip it in a way that works for you. Real talk. I don't have time to annotate. But what I was saying, seriously, I actually would be interested to hear from men who have Moon conjunct Neptune, how that plays out for their relationship with not just their mom, of course, but the women. Yeah, now one thing I will say though, because don't forget, Neptune, we talked about rules stuff. I've never had any women friends. Well, I'll take that back. I would say one of my friends, we would trauma bond over addiction. And I would encourage her. I'm gonna just kind of leave it at that. And I was pretty open. I would say, yeah, I would say in that case. But and actually, I'm grateful for that, because back to let's see, keep going back to my points. But actually, going back to point number 1, and I guess a little bit with, I feel like boundaries with women is the story of women, Moon, Neptune, and first house for me, how it all impacted the story of me. When we will get 2 houses a little bit later. But I would say that my aunts who did get married, they chose partners with addiction issues. And that didn't really happen again. But I think again for me, like I said, my son and my Saturn is very strong. So, but even I'm thankful that I didn't really have too many women friends that had addiction issues. So I think that's a little bit of an outlier, because Neptune, could have had you out there, could have had you out there with groups of women also. Like, think about it, like Neptune, doing Neptune things with women could be like women in arts, women in singing groups. Actually, that's my dream. Like, I don't even know if I like that. Sorry, yo, tell me if I can sing. See, I'll just start belting out a tune. That's the women in my family cannot sing. So that sometimes I feel makes me shy. But Venus in the second, so I don't know if I got some fake pipes, but the whole point is, with Neptune and the moon coming together, that's Neptune things with women. And I feel like that could have you drinking at the bar with the same group of girls every Friday. Friday turns to, all right, let's meet up Wednesday and Friday. Do you know what I'm saying? Or Friday and Saturday. You do that every week for months, for years. Okay, again, I'm not going to say that's a problem, but just have to watch that. You have to watch. Like, I know a lot of overly Pisces people, struggle with, what did they say? Hello, I'm going to move on. I don't want to keep harping on point number 1. But drink like a what fish? What's Pisces? Fish. So, yeah, be careful with boundaries in women, for sure. And I kind of realized, like, talking about, the men, I didn't, but hey, look, this is my perspective from a woman. But yeah, that's my thing. Hello, and this is the beauty of social YouTube. So, really chime in with the comments. Like, I'd be curious to see what you all's boundaries look like with maybe women in y'all house. You remember, I grew up as an only child, so I could see this. Actually, I can speak on this now. The building that I live in, it's pretty small and private, and I have to keep my boundaries here. I mean, it's not like someone's gonna walk through my door without knocking, but it can be very, very good. The lines can be very, very blurred, and how that works out, because I'm sorry, what I was going to say, I didn't have a sister growing up in my house, but if it did, I bet you it could lead to Who I don't know. I guess a relationship, I would say it could struggle with boundaries, and the best of ways, meaning, oh, we're besties and we become one, because Neptune, what transcends, that's why it does all this drugs and let's make music, man, and yeah, we're gonna rock out until they what the vibes, and they're just hitting on other dimensions. That's all Neptune wants to do. Like, get G'd up, pick your poison, pick 1 through 10 here, and transcend to the highest dimensions. So that could mean, again, a great spiritual relationship with a sister, but for here in the building, one of the young ladies who lives here, we become very, very close. Um, so again, Neptune blurring the boundaries, home, women. I really would like to see how those themes played out for you all, especially, like I said, if y'all had siblings in the house. So, number 8, the confusion, the logic, and the processing delays. I can remember, it's so ironic, when the report card would come in, I was a natural AB student, struggled with math with C's, let me be honest about that, but it would always say struggle with reading. Sorry, I'm about to like laugh before I get to that. So, sorry, my report card would say struggles with reading comprehension. I remember reading it and I'd be like, I wonder what that means. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about point number 8. I'm not even gonna tell y'all what age I was when I unlocked that mystery. But yeah, I feel like I'm always confused. I like to die. Well, I'm a natural. It's weird. I'm kind of extroverted with people. But I do not like to talk on the phone. So I say all that to say is I'm a natural texter, and I do prefer like to write things down. As y'all see me kind of like going back here taking these notes. Like, this is how I prefer to communicate, through written word, because it leads to a reduction in confusion. Um, and yeah, actually, I got tested a couple of times, like ADHD stuff that validated processing delays. So I think, again, that's just Neptune on the moon. You just have to kind of come to expect it. But I think the way that I mitigate this is by owning it and asking clarifying questions. Like, and I think, if anything, the more you know yourself, like, it may suck having a few friends, but your OGs got to accept you for who you are. And, I've had people around me that say, oh, you ask too many questions. And a way like, oh, you should maybe not ask many questions. But I'm like, I'm confused. I'm trying to understand what's going on up in here. And that's why I said the best way to get through number 8 is by owning it. Number 9, for sure. Like, Neptune and the moon is look, we didn't even get into this. Like, ooh, the moon is gentle, Cancer, Neptune, Pisces. Pisces could be a little bit rough on the edges, but it's a very gentle and sensitive sign. So absolutely not. Like, when people be online talking about, now, I guess, like, I have seen some Law and Order, and, don't get me wrong now, my mother and I love down some Murder, She Wrote, and I don't think it was too gory. Of course, it was more just, like, very old-time, old-timey crime. But when I be hearing people online talking about they love, look, I don't even, like, not CSI, but, um, True Blood or True Crime, look, like, shows that are about crime solving, that are bloody and glory. They're like, I love watching these all day long. When I put this on before I go to sleep, I'm like, how Houseway? No way, man. It's like, and let me tell you, how do I mitigate this? Like, how do I work around this? I walk out of rooms. Like, my people know if it becomes too much. I mean, I don't be rude about it, but I'm like, hey, this is, and I mean, this scripting, coaching, let's do it right here live. Hey, this is becoming a little overwhelming, so if you don't mind, I'm going to excuse myself right now. And actually, if it's something you're kind of into and you know it's not gonna, so kind of maybe pre-check. Sometimes people just stuff's on in the background. That happens a lot. But if you don't want to watch the rest of it, then excuse yourself. Otherwise, again, back to people who support you. Hey, can you bring me back in after this part is done? Because they might want you. Like, I have people who love movies. Hey, it's like about three scenes. We're going to kick you out, but we'll bring you back in. That's love. That's a healthy relationship that honors sensitivities. So I just want to kind of point that out because I do not like when people tease or try to, I'm gonna say it, not honor someone's sensitive side. Like, it's not cool, man. So, for number 9, it's just, I think that really goes back to you really have to understand, like, Neptune is drowning out the moon, and everything is just like waves and waves of extra vibration pouring back and forth in your head like an ocean. You in the motion with the ocean that you don't know what's in the ocean. But seriously, like even if you can listen to music and music. Well, I'm saying this because I think in most people, hello, Neptune is music, rules music. Um, Leo a little bit too, with Apollo in the Lear. But I feel like when you think about like a symphony, a harmony, a cacophony of voices coming together, like a choir, chorus, I do tend to think that that's more of and Pisces with all this like musical talent. But the whole point is, it sweeps you away in the sound, and you might listen to a love song and start feeling like, oh, I'm like weeping a little bit. That's to me where Neptune's sensitivities lock in a little harder than other people. Someone who's got Moon conjunct Saturn, they're like, turn that soft music off. Like, I gotta get to work and give me some focus music, or they might want to listen to hard rock. I don't know, but Moon conjunct Saturn, actually, they're gonna be wound a little tight. They should be listening to some solfeggio music. But the point is with Neptune, everything, like, let's repeat this together. This shouldn't be sensitive to media. Hold on. No true crime, and I said it here, sensitive to everything. And the house is going to amplify it, but hold on. Let's going to say it again. Like waves and waves of extra information and data. It's actually in the form of sensory. We're receiving way more sensory data in our minds, moon mind, because of that conjunction. So no, I'm not gonna go on a roller coaster. So no, like, don't startle me. So no, like, I'm not gonna listen to music that makes me feel uncomfortable. Like, some rap is too much. Some days I said, nope, it's not. I'm not gonna listen to rap for a little bit. It's a little bit too vibrationally intense, and I'll just uh, jazz, soft jazz, or I have a lot of creators on YouTube I love for different solfeggio tones or iso tronic tones that I love, that really, for me, I really, my body and my guys, they love some EDM and like non-vocal EDM, or I guess instrumental, and definitely tones that have like frequency. Those really go well in terms of kind of taking a sensory break from music and different medias. So, okay, you know what? This was a pretty lengthy video, and we're gonna come back with part 2 for Neptune, Moon conjunct Neptune through each of the houses, because we'll just give a quick preview. This is to me an overall general overarching perspective of the energies. Like I said, given that you have some range of these things going on in your chart. Now, I would say honestly, giving y'all a more realer perspective because I'm giving it from y'all from the first house of the what? Body. Then let's swing to another house. Let's swing to. Oh, actually, I know someone. All right, let's swing to Moon conjunct Neptune. Oh my God, y'all! In the fifth house. This was the Leo house. Actually, that's going to weaken the line a little bit. I don't know if they're going to be like, but I also can see like luxury, um, spiritual stuff. Like maybe they just wear alu yoga, go to bougie Pilates. Like I'm just here on that wave. But the biggest thing I think the warning is Moon conjunct Neptune. This could be because Leo's also this is the fifth house. This is the family house. It could be raising your kids on the water. Because oh, I didn't talk about that. My whole family they live. I mean, not like walk on the front yard and splash. But growing up, like we would just ride our bikes down the street and go fishing. Yeah, it was just like that. So there's a lot of water. So that's how I would see. But excuse me. So the fifth house thing. Let's clear this out. Moon conjunct Neptune in the fifth house. I could. Yeah, that's gonna lower the. Cause think about that's the sun. The sun. That's like whacking the sun with. Back to when I said those are soft energies, Moon and Neptune, and you have the bright Leo sun. It's gonna be like. It's like water constantly going down the lion's mane. Like why? There we go. It has to wring out its lion's mane. Like why am I constantly drowning here a little bit? You got Moon and Neptune living here in the fifth house. So it's going to make for a very different type of Leo. I mean, excuse me, not Leo, different type of lion. And I would need to see the whole chart. Actually, now I'm cosplaying it because I could also flip it and see. Because where I was going is where they should hopefully maybe channel all this into. Fifth house to me is entertainment. Like I love to me when I love explaining this house. I say to me maximizing it is Beyonce's Mars and Leo. Like you should take your Moon conjunct Neptune. You should also be in like in acting, create any type of there we go the creative arts. But to me, that's where I really would have to talk with the person to see if there we go the Leo sun could boost things, but its tail is going to be wringing out water. That's a tough placement. Neptune, water strong. I've been telling y'all, water is strong. And water, yeah, water is strong. But let's switch to one more house for a preview. Then we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up because y'all feel like my voice is getting on zero. So all right, we swung to Neptune. Moon. I keep saying Neptune. Um, excuse me, Moon conjunct Neptune in the first house. We looked at it playing out in the fifth house. Let's go all the way to the opposite side. Ooh, 10th. Yeah, like, okay, 10th house. And I can answer that because I'm also a Capricorn. So I have some authority in boss moves being a 10th house expert because that was like a meta joke if you didn't get that. The 10th house is the Capricorn house, which it's the top of the natal chart. So that's why the goat is climbing the mountain, be like, yo, I'm at the top now because I'm with the boss. That's why I did that earlier. But it is legit the boss, the authority. It's your career. It's your profession. Like, yo, I've been a defense lawyer for 20 years. You can't tell me nothing. Like, I know my stuff. Like, I'm sorry, that's how I am when it comes to my career, which I've had for over 20 years. So, but back to Moon conjunct Neptune in the 10th house. Actually, I knew someone that had Neptune in the 10th house. They struggle with their, again, you need to have the whole chart, but in that case, man, they were wishy-washy in terms of what type of career they wanted. They stayed employed. Yeah, it was just the Neptune in the 10th house. They stayed employed, but they just took jobs to take jobs. So I feel like this. Oh, actually, this is going to be a struggle because I forget the moon does not like to live in the 10th house. Think about it. That's the opposition. So that's going to cause a polarity, and Neptune and Capricorn, I mean, Neptune and Saturn can get along a little bit better. I think that Saturn is so goddamn tough, Teflon tough, that Neptune is going to be like, mm-hmm, all right, we're going to do it your way, Saturn. But it will soften Saturn. So I think if you could deal with the wackiness of the moon in the 10th house, because let me explain why this is wacky in the opposition. So moon traditionally belongs to Cancer. The 10th house belongs to Capricorn. Those are opposite signs. So moon, don't forget, is mother. That's the 4th house. So moon wants to live. Moon's natural house is the bottom of the chart, because the bottom of the chart, that's below what we say. Your natal chart's a wheel and it's sunrise, ascendant. Below the chart, you don't see those planets because that's the subconscious. All the planets below here at the top, what I just said, Capricorn 10th house, that's the top. So if you have the sun there, everyone sees you're a star, you're a sun, that you're bright. If you have Uranus there, everyone sees that you're strange, that you're a little different. And if you have the moon there, the moon is mad, it's not hiding in the 4th house. The moon is it's kind of weird because the moon can rule the public eye. But it is uncomfortable in the Capricorn house because that's the father house. So to me, the issue would be is can they embody being a boss? Because it's probably going to go, think about it. Moon is instincts. So it may go against their instincts to boss up. But like I said, hopefully the impact, the influence of Saturn owning the 10th house can maybe get Neptune strengthened up to kind of lead the way. Yo, hold on, that's a scenario, man. We're gonna end on that note. When you gotta lean on Neptune to lead the way, because the moon is like, I'm not having it here in the 10th house. And Saturn's just like, I'm gonna need that. Okay, and that's just a little preview. We're gonna take Moon conjunct Neptune through all 12 houses in another video. I'm gonna rest my voice. But alright, y'all, check in. Really, 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 really can't wait to hear from others. Like, I wanna know if there's some more other people who also have Moon conjunct Neptune generationally, like in their family charts, because like I said, just seeing these themes play out twice for myself and for my mom was really eye-opening. So alright, y'all, Digital Shaman, one last thing. Hopefully y'all made it all the way here to the end. And actually, if you made it to the end, you get a secret and a surprise. So I'm going to include a link to this is going to be a little short PDF. I might juice it up a little bit more with some extra information, but just a little bit on Moon conjunct Neptune on the written form, and kind of building the little Digital Shaman community here. So if you hit the link, drop your email, then you can get the document presented here in this video, and I appreciate your support. Have a good one.